Hey, pre-notification gang. Coming along great, Rip. This story's not goofy at all. It is extremely goofy. What do you mean? I already talked about it. This is from earlier. This shit is super goofy. He released a 13-track album called I Admit It. We doing Choo Choo Charles before the games? No. I think the games start in an hour. So no point in playing for just an hour. Thanks to Prime Shadowless. And the resub siren. Oh. You see FaZe Rain's new video about FaZe. Oh, literally 25 seconds ago, maybe, I saw that got posted on Twitter. So I started listening to it. Thanks to the bits Dowland and resub Carlos. I guess I can pull it up and watch the rest of it. It was on Jake Sully's Twitter, right? Jesus. Oh my god. Jake Lucky's Twitter. Deanna's got me watching Avatar. So, Jake Sully was in my head. There's a tier 1 crispy. Probably won't do that, Ryan. See the soccer journalist in Qatar that died, his brother thinks it's foul play. Man, that's great. I actually, right before started streaming, I saw a big post about that. I didn't look into it, though. Thanks for resub tomorrow. Makes the bits numb. And the bits employed Matt and resub Sack and Drew. I'm looking forward to the Guardians movie. Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'm sure it'll be fine, yeah. Thanks for resub Iron. No, I'm gonna do Choo Choo Charles tomorrow. Thanks to Prime Yacht. And bits same. Oh, I forgot to watch the Huts update video. I saw it got posted, I just haven't watched it yet. I took a nap today. Been getting up at fucking 6 a.m. the last 2 days. God. I have not been getting a ton of sleep. I need more sleep. But there's just so much going on. No, I haven't watched Wednesday. It's the Prime Kinji. And Bit Spectre. And the resub Brandon. And the resub Kev. And resub Domo. Yeah, I'm subbed to Markiplier's OnlyFans. I'll review his content once there's a lot there. Give a professional perspective. There's a resub Cooch and Hard Dick. And the resub Brett. The Chiking sandwich wasn't available at any of the Burger Kings near me, Drew. That's why we didn't do the Chiking. There's a resub Josh, Brett, and the Prime Corbo. Yeah, I'm gonna play Choo Choo Charles tomorrow. Thanks a bits, Dowland. Pretty much nothing, Mott. Thanks for the bits employed. Not the one you just sent employed, but I have watched like 2. What happened with FaZe? Oh, I don't really know. I just saw a little bit of this. So I was gonna check it out to see what the situation is. There's the 5 gift subs. Snidarian. Appreciate it. There's the resub. Dog. Any updates about Ye? I've heard that he canceled all of his appearances. That's the latest update there. Thanks, Prime Justin. Ooh, and the 9 gift subs, Bella. Goddamn, thank you, Bella. Thanks for that. Yeah, we're going to be getting pretty goofy tonight. We also have Moist Esports Apex, the regional final. That'll be later tonight. So, we got a lot. Thank you for the 20 gift subs, King Okaze. Thanks for that. Thanks for the big drop. Thank you. And the Prime Jakey. And the resub Ali. And the resub Toland. My favorite Nicolas Cage movie, National Treasure. Not even close. And the resub Jacko, gift sub Dala, and the Prime Hunter. And tier 1 Beanut. And tier 1 Speedrunning Idiot. And gift sub Ali. And tier 1 Polar Panda. Yep, I saw all of the Game Awards announcements. I watched the whole thing. They had some great stuff. In fact, the vast majority of those announcements were really hype. Sad there was no Silk Song. Yeah, I'm a little surprised they didn't give any new Hollow Knight information. I would have expected that'd be a great opportunity to do so. Thanks, Resub, Rex, and Jackie. Thoughts on the Ghost Rider movies? I liked them when I was a kid. I'd probably hate them now, though. Thanks, Resub, Sarah. It's been about 4 years since the Silk Song announcement. Well, they also made the Xbox Games announcement where they said that within 12 months the game will be out. Thanks, Resub, Odin. So they still got some time. Thanks, Prime Drizzy. Yeah, I don't really know what the drama is here with FaZe, so I was gonna see what that's about. There's the Resub Lightyear. Look at the bits. Ruin it. Ruin it. These a bit's true. Yep. Probably it's usually like every 2 weeks, so it should be like next week, I think. Rain put up a video on his own YouTube channel. Did he? Dear FaZe Clan. I'm guessing Jake just has like the important bits though, so this will be a little more convenient. Just to get the gist. Thanks to Tier 1 S'mores and Resub Mackie and the 5 gift subs being God. The bits Banana Milk. When will the Charlie Awards happen? We do the Moisties every year. For the 5 best and worst games and movies. Thanks to 5 gift subs Crispy. Who were my favorite creators on YouTube when I was younger? Montage makers. So like old Gears of War players, Halo players, shit like that. Thanks to Resub, Lactose, and Barry. That's an era that's long behind us. Fucking gaming montages, holy shit. TikTok edits are the new montage. I guess kinda. I do see those pop up on Twitter every now and again. The saddest shit ever, by the way. It'll just be like people replying to completely irrelevant tweets to what their to what their content is, and they'll just be like, "Yeah, I agree, but can you check out this collateral?" And then he drops like a short TikTok of a cool clippy hit in Call of Duty, and it has like 1 like with their blue check mark because he pays $8 a month to try and get priority to promote the clips. The clip has like 20 views maybe, and it's set to some dog shit song. Oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. It's on like everything too. I always see at least 1 or 2 of those per big tweet. Thanks to the resub, Pius. Yeah, of course I'm gonna play Choo Choo Charles tomorrow. Just not tonight. Tonight I've just got plans. So no room for Choo Choo Charles tonight. Is that Nightmare Before Christmas? Tiana's playing Kingdom Hearts 2. Yep. I have not seen this yet. I wanted to watch this tonight. This one I was saving to watch with stream. So I caught up on the entire CoffeeZilla SBF saga, like when he's been directly communicating. And I know he recently went on Lex Friedman's show. Like, CoffeeZilla's on the come up, and I'm so fucking happy for him. And I'm really excited to see this one. Thanks a Prime, Adam. Now let's see what this phase situation is.
For detail, I know a lot of people are saying you're milking this, just tell us already. This is a decade-long problem, man, with a lot of legal shit around it. So now it's turned into multiple problems. It's not just the initial problem I had in the beginning. It's a lot deeper than that. And yes, I'm going to say this now because they're probably going to try to say, well, he's only doing this because we owe him money and he's mad. They do owe me money, yes, and they haven't taken care of me, yes. And the money that I bought the Counter-Strike team for, it took them 6 months to pay me back, yes. I never got $1 or a brand deal, yes. That's all it is. They're going to say that. And
that was a lot.
But I obviously held that in for years. I held that frustration in for years, and it was never the reason that I was going to do this or speak publicly. Because if they just owed me money, I would have handled it a different way. This is a lot deeper than that, and a lot of my brothers don't see the actual issue here. They are being taken advantage of. I have to be careful with what I say. For detail, I know a lot of people are...
So is the whole thing... Wait, is the drama he thinks FaZe Clan's taking advantage of its creators? Because, yeah... Like, that much is obvious to someone who's not even in FaZe Clan. It just seems like they get used. Hey, what's up, Sweat? I've seen you've been enjoying the new season of Destiny. Thanks to Tier 1 Simp and the resub Pure Win, King, and you synced. So is that the whole thing? Because if so, that's pretty underwhelming. I thought there was going to be like a really juicy expose on FaZe, but if it's just FaZe doesn't really care about the creators, they're misguided. It's like, yeah, I mean, we've known that. There have been many examples of them not being in the right mentality for their creators. Is your resub Slapchop and the Prime JMR? In Binab. Alright, I'll
care about
the second part.
How it just opened up so many doors for a lot of people for different things. I think it's beautiful, and I want it to always mean that. I don't want these people to come in and ruin the brand that I sacrificed my childhood for. I don't want people to come in and just milk it and do collab after collab that do bad, by the way, but it's just like they think the logo has a fan base. Like the logo is a person. Everyone's like, oh my god, I can't wait to see the logo.
True.
No, the logo represents a collection of people that make people feel a certain way. That's what the logo was. Like, they don't get this shit. They're not from our world. They don't consume our content. They don't feel the same way we feel. They don't really care about our fans. They're numbers to them. I've met... How many fucking fans have I met? I don't even fucking know. Since I was 15 years old, I met my first fan. I meet them all the time. I love you guys. If you guys in person, any person that's ever met me in real life, tell them how I've treated you. For real. I love my
So you're just
fans.
tired of like the out-of-touch suits at FaZe?
Being the creators or the fans, right? They end up being consumers and they end up supporting FaZe and all these brands. But they don't even know who they're supporting at this point. Like, people support it thinking that you're helping out your creator, but you're not. You know, you think like even when you guys buy like the Batman comic, you think I'm getting $1 from that even my face is on that? No. It's like...
I feel like most people know that though, right? Well, I mean, I guess FaZe Clan's in a different situation where a lot of the fans are super young. But yeah, I mean, when you're buying the comic book that has, you know, Banks on it, Jev, whoever was in the Batman Cross FaZe comic book, those creators aren't seeing shit from that. That just goes right to the company. It's just a corporate thing. They don't see shit. They just use their likeness. It's part of their contract. This isn't really like eye-opening stuff. Do I agree with it? No. Like, I think that's scummy. I completely agree, but that's how like almost every esports org is. Ours isn't, before anyone asks. They can do whatever brand deals they want. We don't force them to do that shit, and they keep 100% of it. That's entirely whatever they want to do. But that's not the norm in the industry. Thanks the resub Chief and the tier 1 Nate. And the resub Simon, Infamous, and Danny Phantom. Have you been enjoying Divine Knockout, Dankin? I've seen a lot of people really liking it. I haven't tried it yet. As your ship out of context, it sounds shady as fuck. Even with the context, I think it's shady. I said this from day one. I think a lot of esports orgs are very shady. I think a lot of what they do is suboptimal. Just because it's the norm doesn't mean it's like cool or good. Thanks to the resub Shep in Peak. How does Moist Esports make money then? For the millionth time, it doesn't. Eventually it will, though. Through merch or, like, in-game items like Rocket League skin and shit. But we're not there yet. But eventually. Look into the reporter death in Qatar. Yeah, it's something I'll probably do, like, on my own, not on stream. That's not exactly a goofy topic. That's just a really sad one. You want a goofy topic? R. Kelly. This man's in prison and he released a 13-track album called I Admit It. I was talking about this earlier. This shit had me giggling. He released multiple tracks just talking about it. Like, that's goofy. We listening to it? Nah, I can't listen to it, unfortunately. Even though he's in jail, he'll probably still find a way to DMCA strike. I don't even know what label released this for him. Who's like, yeah, we'll release the new R. Kelly I Admit It album. But yeah, this shit is so silly. Part 2 appears to address the allegations against him. The rapper says, I admit I fuck with all the ladies. That's both older and younger ladies. But tell me how they call it pedophile because that shit is crazy. You may have your opinions, entitled to your opinions, but really am I supposed to go to jail and lose my career because of your opinions? From the guy who is serving a very hefty sentence for many, many sex crimes over many years, and some against minors. Not really like an opinion thing. Thanks, resub. Victory loaded and the bits quack. No way he really did this. No, I didn't believe it at first either, but it's true. He actually released this. I don't know where though. Like I said, I don't know what self-respecting label would have released this. Like he did the O.J. Simpson play here with the if I killed her, here's how I would have done it. His is just I admit it. I don't know where it dropped, but it is out there. I've seen a couple clips on Twitter from people listening to it. Thanks to the resub, Gentle and Grayson. It says some of the songs were initially uploaded in 2018 as one 19-minute track. Yeah. I saw that too. I don't exactly know what that means here though, because it's a 13-track album. So one 19-minute track divided into 13 doesn't make any sense. So I was assuming this was just some of the album. Reusing some of that. Thanks to resub Grayson and Sapphic. Oh, hey, thanks for the raid, Moki. Hope you had a great stream. Fuck yeah, man. Thanks for that. Thank you, Moki. Yep, this was real. R. Kelly actually did this. And it might just go platinum. This one might do numbers. We watching Apex tonight? Yes. I think it starts around an hour from now. They pulled it down immediately. Ridiculous. Oh, the album was a bootleg, not official? Are you sure? I didn't read that from any of the articles I saw. R. Kelly says he has nothing to do with the release, according to TMZ. Can you just talk to prisoners like whenever you want? Like you just call up the the prison. You're like, hey, can you put R. Kelly on the line real quick? I got a question for him. Well, they just like go get him. Damn, that's wild. I had no idea. I thought they only got like one phone call a month or some shit. And then like visitor hours. Into tier 1 Aiden, the resub late to school and kill command. On RuneScape, Turbo Wet. That's my name on RuneScape. Yeah, I'm still playing through Like a Dragon, slowly but surely. Thanks to resub Marlocks. What Apex tourney is tonight? The final regional tournament for APAC, which is what our team is in. So right now we're top 5 and we need to hold top 5 by the end of this regional to lock in the major land position. Will I be reattempting Hello Neighbor speedruns anytime soon? Maybe. I really like the speedrun, but the crashing is unplayable. Thanks for your sub, Samboni. We play again tomorrow, Samboni. Do or die. Is it Prime Cutesy? Yeah, I saw the first video. I haven't seen the update yet, though, Daichi. No, I don't know what you're talking about with that virus. Thanks to the bits, Reese. Do you think Panda Cup will ever happen? I'm pretty doubtful, but I guess we'll see. It all depends on who takes over the leadership position at Panda. Thanks, Resubkin. Yeah, I plan on that, watching it, Daichi. No, I haven't watched Dhar Mann in a long time. Don't plan on it. I've outgrown Dhar Mann. I've learned all I can from his wisdom. You hear about the IGN firings? Yep. I did. It's not surprising. I feel like that's going to be the industry norm pretty soon. Like, the industry is just bloated. Where's all the articles that were talking about how many people were laid off? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Thanks a Prime Ghostly in the resub, Charles. Massive corporate layoffs across many industries. This isn't isolated. Super true. But I think the games journalism industry is very bloated, so I think it's going to be hitting hard. Thanks the Prime AC. So was Twitter. True, Twitter was extraordinarily bloated. Thanks resub Playtendo. How the fuck does game journalism still exist? Not really sure. I think it's just people trying to not even make like an educated buyer's decision, but mainly just make sure that their opinion is being echoed properly by outlets. I feel like that's the main audience for like an IGN or Polygon review. Exit Prime. Revenge and resub Juice. The lead designer of Sekiro is directing Armored Core 6. That's exciting. I like your moist meters, though. Thanks, man. I don't really consider that games journalism, though. That's just, hey, I played this game. Here's what I thought. There's the Prime Spee, Resub, Hyena, and Bagel. And Tier 1 WTF. Gunner uploaded a new video about I'm Schmacked. Oh, did he? I didn't see him upload, did I? I'm Schmacked went to my university once when I was in college. Actually, I think twice, or they might have got canceled the second time. I don't remember. But they went once when I was still a freshman, or it might have been a sophomore. I'm not sure. But I'm Schmacked rolled around, and I remember a couple people from my class were in one of their videos. And everyone that appeared in one of the I'm Schmacked videos got a write-up, which at the university was basically like a adult suspension. They took that shit so seriously, just because they were spotted at a party. I'm Schmacked used to be like what Nelk is now, but 10 years ago. And not as douchey, and not crypto scamming so frequently. So they used to go around to college campuses, going to their biggest parties and just filming it and getting fucking wild. Why was it bad? I don't know. I guess the university really didn't like that look. They didn't like that the kids were partying on video. I don't know. I don't really get it. Voice crack. I don't really get it. Thanks to 2 gift subs, Toast, the resub Jay, Sakoshi, and Hollywood. I'm gonna moist meter JoJo's part 6. I might. I haven't decided. Have you heard of a game called 8 Days? No, first time I've heard of that. Yeah, I'll moist meter the new Bleach season when it's done. Yes, I'm playing Choo Choo Charles tomorrow. Not today. I've got plans for tonight. Have you seen the FaZe Rain video where he calls out FaZe? I just watched that. It just seems really not interesting. Like, I feel like everything he's saying is things everyone already knew. It's not exactly like a deep look, and he hyped it up like, man, they're going to come after me for these. This statement's going to have FaZe Clan coming after me. But then he was just saying what I feel like everyone already knew. That there's a ton of suits there that don't really get it and are super content taking advantage of the creators. Like, negatively. Like the resub pup in Psycho. Thanks to the resub Yanko. Have you yeah, I already talked about the Qatar thing. That's something I'm going to look into later. That's not a goofy situation to, like, go through on stream. That just sounds fucked up. Thanks resub Disruptor in Tier 1 Epic. Yep, I'm caught up on Chainsaw Man. It's very good. Thanks to the resub Obi. Yep. I want to watch the CoffeeZilla interview here where he gets SBF to admit to fraud.
I tricked Sam Bankman-Fried into a third interview with me, and this time he may have admitted to fraud. You'll be the judge. You can click to this timestamp if you just want to listen to the interview, but I want to explain the background, the strategy that went into this call to try to learn where others had failed, including, by the way, learning from my own failures interviewing Sam. Now, first, I want to give some background. Sam at no point has wanted to talk to me. Every time I've kind of snuck on these Q&As and started peppering questions to you.
I just cannot believe Sam continues to get these Q&As and continue to interact directly with human beings. Like, one of the biggest frauds of all time, and he is still perfectly content to try and pretend that he's not and just talk to people. Just constantly talking to people about it. Being super open. It's wild. I mean, I guess I'm glad that he's that open about it, because maybe that'll eventually lead to charges against him, since for some reason they don't want to pursue charges against him, even though it was billions of dollars worth of fraud. So maybe as he continues to put his own ass in his face, maybe then they'll be motivated enough to go after him, but it blows my mind that he continues to do this. Sam Bankman-Fried, that is.
Usually leaves, but I realized that since this was my third time basically doing the exact same trick, it was probably going to be one of my last, because at some point he was going to catch on. So I knew going into this, it might be my last chance to interview Sam. And because of that, I had to think long and hard about what the perfect line of questioning would be to really pin Sam down.
Ask him why he's hard stuck bronze in League.
Dodging questions. He's done it with everybody so far, including me, by the way. And I mean, look, I think we've got some great stuff, but to this point, I didn't think anyone had gotten that smoking gun. He always denies everything. He always has a sort of a loophole out of it. So I'd have to try a different tactic. And here was my plan. Sam's whole excuse about not being a con man all hinges around Alameda Research. Basically, he says he knew
very
nothing
reliable
of what was going on there because
organization.
He's the CEO of FTX. And while that's nearly impossible to believe that he's this stupid or incompetent, it's really hard to prove 100%. So I realized if we were going to do this, I'd have to remove Alameda from my case, right? I needed to show that Sam had knowingly defrauded people without invoking Alameda at any point. And here was my plan to do it. I was going to spend the entire time laser focused on the FTX terms of service. Now, some of you may know FTX lays out that
interesting
they cannot
strategy.
use customer funds for anything. They can't trade with them. They can't loan them out. And I thought this was a really important point because obviously that money is no longer there. So clearly something must have happened. But I'm far from the first person to notice this. Many people, including myself, have already tried to ask him about
he called
this
it
and
out
pin him
already.
down, but for various reasons, well, it didn't work. And I needed to learn why so we could avoid it. So I want to go through a few major interviews with Sam and show why this line of questioning has always fallen apart, starting with the New York Times.
In terms of service for FTX, and I just want to read you this. It says, none of the digital assets in your account are the property of or shall or may be loaned to FTX Trading. FTX Trading does not represent or treat digital assets in users' accounts as belonging to FTX Trading. So how is it possible that Alameda had this loan of
God, he just looks like such a villain.
So there's that piece from the terms of service, but there were a number of other parts of the terms of service and a number of other parts of the platform on top of that. There is the borrow lending facility, where users were lending billions of dollars of assets to each other, collateralized by assets on the exchange. You had obviously.
Yeah, but why do you suck so much ass at League?
Now, of course, all of this, it's meant to be the case that these are positions where FTX could, if it needed to, margin call those positions and close them down in time such that it would cover all of those, all those shorts, all those liabilities. Obviously, that wasn't the case here, and that's a massive failure of oversight of risk management, and of.
It's such a fucking frustrating defense to listen to. So instead of admitting to fraud, because obviously he's not dumb enough to just blatantly admit to fraud, until now, I guess, with the CoffeeZilla interview, instead of admitting to anything, he blames it all on I'm just a fucking imbecile. Like I am actually the dumbest man of all time. This was a failure on every level because I'm so fucking stupid. How quirky with my dumb, smooth brain. Haha, how dumb. I'm just so dumb. I can't believe we did this. We were so stupid and short-sighted to do this. His defense is I am just a fucking moron. That is his whole defense. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a fraud. I'm just the dumbest man on this entire planet. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. There is some meatloaf, beak, and bats.
Responsibility from myself running FTX.
Because he is stupid. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna call this man smart. He is like observably dumb. But he is also a con man. He is a fraud. He knowingly committed crimes. Like, that's not some accidental thing that was a byproduct of being a fucking actual buffoon. It's because he is a con man criminal.
But just make this very straight. Was there commingling of funds? That's what it appears like. It appears like there's been a genuine commingling of the funds that are of FTX customers that were not supposed to be commingled with your separate firm.
I didn't knowingly commingle funds.
Okay, Sorkin tried and failed here to pin him down on the terms of service. Why? Well, because Sam escapes in this talk about a different part of the terms of service, which related to margin trading, where you take out some kind of a loan. And in a way, it was a complete deflection.
Tier 1
it doesn't matter that there's a separate margin trading terms of service because the people who weren't margin trading still should have had their funds kept safe. But it sort of threw Sorkin off track. And so now we're going to move to the Stephanopoulos interview, which was a bit better because Sam's going to try the margin trading story. But watch Stephanopoulos. He does a better job at honing in on the question.
But as you know,
Tier
the
one
FTX
fire.
terms of service tell the people who signed up, none of the digital assets in your account are the property of
Use
or
of
shall
icing.
be or may be loaned to FTX trading.
Oh, I got it
You're
wrong
saying
again.
that happened.
My understanding is a few things happen. The first is there is a margin trading facility on FTX.
Is it
by
big?
which users
Thanks for the
can
resub.
lend out funds, by which other users borrow funds. And so there are explicit cases where there is, margin extended, where there is borrow lending.
If Alameda is borrowing the money that belongs to FTX depositors, that's a bright red line, isn't it?
There are a lot of cases where that's actually explicitly part of the programs and that are
But
happening.
not
and people
here.
are
Here it
obligated.
says that the digital assets may not be loaned to FTX trading. They can't be loaned out.
Jesus. Just listening to the way he conducts himself, holy fuck, it is so grating. There is no man that is more, annoying than Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh my lord. And this is nothing compared to that video they made about him calling them the world's most generous billionaire. He repeats it to himself like he's a child in class trying to struggle to read something out loud. Ugh. Oh, did I write that? No, that couldn't have been there. You can't loan to FTX. No. Oh, just another failure. Man, we're so goofy. We're so stupid. I can't believe we did. We wrote that? Oh my god. Well, it wasn't on purpose. We're just dumb. You can't throw me in jail for being dumb.
There
like he's on Who Wants to Be a
existed
Millionaire.
Borrow lending facility on FTX. And I think that's probably covered, I don't remember exactly where, but somewhere else in the terms of service.
But they'd have to approve of that. They're saying they didn't approve of it here. They're saying you approved of it.
Now, this is great stuff from Stephanopoulos. He refocused the question, but Sam's about to weasel out with a new trick. Go ahead and watch.
If
Crying.
you rewind
He cries.
to the beginning of
Imagine.
FTX, where some customers were I think in line with sort of existing relationships that they've had, at least in some cases, wiring money straight to Alameda Research in order to trade on FTX.
So you do know, and you did know, that FTX deposits were being funneled to Alameda.
So I was vaguely aware that that was how some wires were being sent in the first place.
Didn't that set off alarm bells in your head?
Oh, don't give him a way out. This is throwing him a softball at the end. He was doing a great job, but yeah, I definitely see how SBF gets his way out of this one. He squeaks it out, little stinker. I was too busy playing League of Legends, and I was only vaguely aware of crimes or something related to illegal activity or the violation of our own terms. You know how much I play League, right? Because I am Bronze 3, and I just must have been so distracted or on tilt that day. Oh my god. I should have paid more attention. I'm so silly. I can't believe I've done this.
So there are a lot of people who are involved in that process. And look, I really deeply wish that I had taken a lot more responsibility for understanding what the details were of what was going on there.
This is how he
Jesus.
slips out again.
Yep.
He tried the margin trading explanation. It didn't work. So he pivots to, okay, well, there's this weird backstory where FTX used to take wires from Alameda. And maybe that's where we lost the money, right? It's another smokescreen, but unfortunately, it kind of hamstrung the conversation. And if I was going to succeed, I'd have to beat that explanation. And in the first
Thanks,
couple
Yusuf.
interviews I
Iron
did with
and
Sam, I
Jamsey.
tried to go with this insider angle, where insiders I had talked to had told me something very different, but it didn't work. Go ahead and watch.
There's sort of all this talk about the terms of service. Did you break terms of service? Did you not? You're basically claiming that there was this separate side of your terms of service. But I talked to somebody from Alameda and asked how big the position of or how many people had assets in the type of accounts that terms of service would apply to versus the regular terms of service, which said you couldn't use their money. And they said it was about $1 billion that was in the margin trading or the margin side of things where you could reuse their funds or whatever, and the rest of it was not there. So it seems like you're putting all your eggs behind this one excuse about, there was this separate side of the terms of service. How do you address everyone else?
So I don't have all the data in front of me. My memory is that it was substantially more than $1 billion. I can't verify that. On top of that, there were other effects as well. Some of those were early wire transfers sent directly to Alameda.
Yeah, I kind of got stuck where Stephanopoulos roughly got stuck. I should have known that he was just going to refuse the evidence of insiders and just say, well, I disagree, and go back to his Alameda wire explanation. And I tried following it up.
To be fair, though, I think CoffeeZilla's angle there was a smart one to play, but you're going up against a guy who's trying to be like a, I don't know, still trying to maintain that altruism almost, where he's like, I'm so open and honest, like everything collapsed, everything failed, but it's because of some shortcomings that I did out of, you know, a misunderstanding and a couple of mistakes along the way. I'm still young, I'm still learning, still time to grow, and then busting out an interpretive dance apology. So it's just like a really hard position to argue against. Thanks to the Prime Fire, and the resub Noto, and 40AF.
Up a bit, but it didn't really matter. I had kind of missed my shot on that particular angle. And as I reflected on this, I realized all of the talk about margin trading, future trading, wire transfers to Alameda, all of it is a smokescreen from the big problem. The big problem is that some percentage of FTX's customer base never sent a wire to Alameda. They never signed up to margin trading. They never did spot margin. All they did was put their assets on the platform, and they were told that their assets would not be borrowed, it would not be loaned out, and that money would always be there. And it wasn't there. Why wasn't it there? There's no other way to explain that. If the money's not there, then fraud. And I had to laser in on that one point, not get distracted by these shiny objects that Sam's throwing up about this or that, or what about this, what about that? No, there's only one question that matters, and it's impossible for him to answer, I thought. So that was my strategy going into it. That was the backstory and how I learned from previous interviews. So without further ado, here's my third and probably final call with Sam Bankman-Fried.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is not going to be the final call. Sam Bankman-Fried's going to go on another goddamn Twitter live stream with strangers yet again. And CoffeeZilla can just get in there and interview him again if he wants. Like, for some reason, this fucking guy is so addicted to doing interviews about his, like, scam. Like, it blows my mind. It actually blows my mind.
I'm about to go up.
Okay, Coffee, you're up.
Hey, Sam, it's me again. I just wanted to ask real quick about the terms of service question, which Rec brought up a little bit. I want to expound on it. Can you just tell us, yes or no, were you treating client assets just on the regular digital asset side different from the margin trading side?
I do think we were treating them differently. There were a bunch of different sides. There were more than two sides there. But I do think that we
Thanks to give some Reblosio and give some Wafflix.
That we were cognizant of the fact that, like, there were differences between uses for like, you know, margin versus staking versus spot versus futures collateral versus other things.
Yeah, just people. I'm just talking about people just you know, putting Bitcoin on the exchange. Yeah. Obviously, there was really clear terms of service around that. If it's true that you didn't invest client assets, not even in treasuries, as you said via a now deleted tweet, why do those client assets no longer exist?
So
repeat the question. I'm in a mid lane battle right now.
Some of this. Here's my best guess, and I wish I could give you a more confident answer, but I don't have the data. But my best guess is basically it's a combination of the following. One piece is the transfer sent directly to Alameda Research from customers. One piece, and that I think is a fairly substantial piece. One piece is.
Wait, can you explain what that piece means? So people were sending money to Alameda instead of, they were getting credited on FTX, and Alameda just ended up using those funds, and they were never held separately per the terms of service.
Well, there was a separate deal agreement with that. I don't know the details of it. I don't have it in front of me, but
God, it's every question you ask him. It's like, well, I'm actually really not sure what you're talking about, but if I had to guess, like, as if you didn't own the company, like you didn't make the company. Like it's like asking your dad, who only like read the headlines about FTX, these questions. Like, that's his responses. I don't actually know where this could have gone. If I had to, spitball and, give you a ballpark, it probably went into Kmart stock. Like, Jesus Christ.
There's a separate legal agreement with respect to transfers that were sent directly to Alameda Research by users, especially before FTX had its own bank accounts. And so I do think that is part of what happened there, likely.
Let's focus on only client assets that happened after FTX got a bank. Y'all said digital assets are treated a very specific way. Why were those digital assets not treated that way?
So of the remaining piece, and there's a few
I can
other
feel him
pieces as
sweating.
well, around features and other things. I understand that's not what you're talking about. For the ones that you are talking about, right? For the ones that were left, and I'm just taking a stab at this because I don't have the data. My best guess is the following: is that there were a lot of those assets remaining. We processed something like $5 or $6 billion, I think, of withdrawals over the few days prior to, or I guess the few days during the crash, and there are still a few $1 billion of those remaining, I think, in the estate. And so you put those together, you have many billions of dollars of those assets. But I think, and so that's part of the answer, is that
you're getting so lost in the sauce. This is such a blatant, placate attempt here to get off of this.
Probably still have there, which is, well, how about people who didn't withdraw and were also in that bucket? And part of the answer is, well, there still do exist some number of billions of dollars of assets, of hard assets in the estate.
No, is there one-to-one assets? Because that's the whole thing. We're talking about a separation of funds. So those funds should be in a different place, in a different wallet than everybody else. What you talked about, servicing billions of dollars of withdrawals, has nothing to do with those specific digital assets, because that's just first come, first serve, whoever pulled out first. We're talking about people who never agreed to have their funds loaned out, who never agreed to have their funds put on margin. They should have, according to your terms of service, one-to-one backing. It should all still be in some bucket somewhere. And are you confident today, as the CEO of FTX, this has nothing to do with Alameda, are you confident today to say that those are absolutely real and they exist and they're present, people are backed one-to-one on client digital assets?
His response is going to be, well, what terms of service? I don't really know what that means, but if I had to wager a foggy stab in the dark, for those that don't understand the line of questioning CoffeeZilla is going for, he's focusing in on like a really core component to this, where there's people like, back to this, like your dad heard about FTX. He saw that Super Bowl commercial with Larry David. He's like, yeah, I think I'm out. Don't be like Larry. Put your money in FTX. It's a great, safe, wonderful thing. So he just puts his money in there. He doesn't agree to do any like margins. He doesn't agree to anything else. He just wants his money in there. And according to FTX, that money would always be there, one-to-one. It wouldn't go to anywhere else. It wouldn't go to Alameda. It wouldn't go anywhere you would have it. It would just be there. But that's not the case, clearly. That ended up not being the case. They know, it appears, all of that is gone.
So I think, and again, I'm just taking a stab here, but I think
almost verbatim what I just said, he would say,
is that if you look at especially a lot of the withdrawals that happened, those withdrawals were not necessarily only coming from people who never used margin trading or futures or staking or anything else. Those weren't just withdrawals from people who were keeping one-to-one backed. Or we're sort of just keeping them as pure spot balances, and it was omnibus wallets between the various categories, and so I think that the answer to your question is that a number of those assets were withdrawn by people who had balances on the exchange, potentially in the few days prior to the collapse, and if you wanted to think about it this way, it could be that that happened, and then when the collapse sort of completed, that effectively meant that there was, if you wanted to put it this way, like fungibility created during those withdrawals between assets for people who had and had not been using.
But that means that there is no separation of funds. If there's fungibility between two different buckets of there are no buckets. It's just one bucket. Everyone's taking out of the bucket, which
this really seems like SBF is tossing out buzzwords that he doesn't even understand himself. Like that, this is rough. This is pretty rough. And it's made even worse by the I think, maybe. Well, I don't really know.
Which means substantially anyone who had your terms of service with digital assets wasn't actually subject to that terms of service. They were subject to the same terms of service of your margin trading, right? Which is your more risky product. So you subjected everyone to the higher risk product because fundamentally, when it came down to it, you're saying there's fungibility. It's $1 here, $1 there. Everyone can take out $1 as fast as they want. Don't you see that as like defrauding your customers, the people who trusted you to just say, hey, this is not going to go anywhere except for we're not investing your assets. If I can exchange one-to-one and I'm the one who put risky stuff on with risky assets with risky terms of service, I can take the money that someone who didn't sign up to those same risky terms didn't agree to. Isn't that fraud?
Well, yes, I think.
I'm specifically talking about what happened in the days immediately during and following the crash, in that 3 or so day period, and during that period, I think we may have allowed just generalized withdrawals. I think that was if you're saying,
do you not realize what you're saying right now?
Withdrawals for everyone who had an open futures position, for clawback potential or something like that. I don't know. Maybe that would have been the right thing to do. I hear where you're coming from on that. I felt, at the time, that, we wanted to treat customers equally. It was an incredible.
But they had agreed to different things, so you can't treat them equally.
Yeah, that's like he's trying. Oh my God, he's trying to take this angle like everyone's equal here, but like you have different areas of investment, like the risky assets. I put in for these terms, it's risky. I get that. I accept that risk. But then you have the people like CoffeeZilla is focusing on. I don't want to do the risky shit. I just want this one-to-one. I want it to sit there. I just want it to be one-to-one, nothing else. And SBF is just admitting, well, actually, I mean, everyone played by the same rules. Like, they didn't make a distinction. There's no separation. Thus, fraud. Fucking fraud. It's just that simple.
I mean, it's like, this is the whole problem of the story of FTX and Alameda, is all the funds were being commingled. Isn't this just another story of commingling funds, except this is now FTX, which you can't pass the blame to Alameda anymore. This is your company, your funds, that you are treating all the clients the same when they clearly signed up to different terms of service.
So I just want to respond to that. And please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, CoffeeZilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here. I completely understand where you're coming from. But to answer your question, I didn't make a decision there. We processed withdrawals as we normally do until it became clear we couldn't anymore, at which point we shut them off. And it was the case that, like, at that point, there was a big liquidity hole. That's what happened. If you want to judge that process and think that, like, we should have been spending those days frantically trying to code up a new withdrawal process, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fine. I mean, it's not about coding up a new withdrawal process. It's about treating your client assets the way you told them they'd be treated, right? It's a very different thing.
It's super simple.
Completely. But anyways, I'll stop grandstanding for Sam. Thanks, guys. Oh my gosh.
I legitimately, truly believe SBF doesn't even realize what kind of conversation he just had. I actually think he has no clue what he was even talking about, like, or the ramifications of what he was saying. I am truly convinced he actually just doesn't know.
Woo! Oh my gosh. Wow. We got the call out. We got the shout out. All right, you can probably tell I was pretty excited about that because I finally got what I was looking for, a straight answer on the problem of funds.
With
right?
1,000
Sam
ums
explicitly
surrounding
says
it.
that FTX was not separating funds. They were allowing generalized withdrawals. The dollars were fungible from different buckets. You can't do that. We finally dodged all the BS about margin trading, about Alameda wires. We finally got to the heart of it, which is that there are no funds left over for the people who just should have had their funds separated because they never separated them from the beginning. They were always seemingly commingled. And although Sam wouldn't necessarily agree that they were always commingled, the proof is in the pudding. FTX owes billions of dollars that they do not have.
Yep.
And it's because of how they allowed withdrawals. To give you kind of a regular finance analogy about why this is so cataclysmically bad, and in my opinion, fraud. Imagine you banked at JP Morgan Chase.
Not even your
You
opinion.
had
It is
more
just
money
fraud. It is just
in the
fraud.
savings account part.
It's more than an opinion. It's just
Then
fraud.
you find out that they actually had this risky hedge fund. And you know what? They actually kind of blew up. In fact, they blew up so badly that JP Morgan Chase, it's all shutting down. But when you go to the bank to withdraw your money, you find out that instead of keeping your money safely in your savings account, they had allowed the people in the hedge fund business to just withdraw it, you know, first come, first serve, right? They treated all clients the same, according to them. Well, you say, well, no, that's fraud because you signed up to very different terms of service than the guy who knew he was going to be like, you know, in this hedge fund, right? He had a different level of risk. He acknowledged that level of risk. And if you just throw all the money in one pot, the terms of service are meaningless, right? You're exposed to the same level of risk as the guy who took on huge risk. And that's fundamentally what happened at FTX. That's fraud. They told people their money was safe, and ultimately, they just subjected everyone to the same risk as like the day trading degenerate gambler on 100x leverage. And I really found the last thing Sam told me like so telling.
To answer your question, I didn't make a decision there. I just processed withdrawals as we normally do.
God.
That's what happened. If you want to judge that process and think that like we should have been spending those days frantically trying to code up a new withdrawal process, I disagree with you, but I understand where you're coming from.
This is so interesting because no, of course I don't think you should be coding up a new withdrawal process while you're going bankrupt. But if throwing all your client funds in a pool and letting the first come first serve get the money, that's the wrong process to begin with. Your process was fraudulent from the start. It should have never been your process. Your process should have been what you promised clients, which is, of course, what I told Sam. And although I think Sam's probably guilty of a lot more than we covered here, I really wanted to get to this minimum viable fraud case, and I think we did get it. I mean, there is no sort of wiggling around the fact that he was the CEO of FTX, and all of this stuff that was bad that we proved happened at FTX. You don't have to invoke Alameda to get to this. So you can't say he didn't know because he definitely did know. And he says he knew. So the last thing I'm going to close on, and I thought it was the funniest part, was his little outburst at the end about me monopolizing his
that was pretty awesome.
I just want to respond to that. And please, I completely respect your question, but you have monopolized all of these discussions, CoffeeZilla. You need to let others speak, and you need to respond to what I'm saying and not grandstand as much here.
And I thought it was notable for two reasons. One, he hasn't lost his cool once in any interview. This is the first time I heard him like really crack. And I thought that was interesting, but I also thought it was interesting because it's just not true. It's totally wrong. I've talked to Sam for I think 30 minutes across 3 interviews total, like in total. And for context, he gave the New York Times an hour. He gave George Stephanopoulos 2 hours. I think out of everyone he's talked to, or at least of the major interviews, I've talked to him the least. So if anything, I'm efficient with my time. That's all I'm going to say. And speaking of being efficient with my time, this video is over. Lock this man up, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
Fucking amazing job. That's so fucking good. Sam Bankman-Fried, though, is legitimately grating to try and listen to. God, it's so frustrating. Yeah, like he's not even close to getting like arrested, going to trial or anything. For some reason, so many outlets are still sucking his dick. It makes no sense. No sense at all. It is so backwards. So backwards. Thanks to Resub Lamari. He won't ever be. Yeah, I'm losing faith that he will ever actually face justice. There's the Prime Far. And the resub Fiend. Donated millions to both political parties. He's untouchable. I guess, man. I didn't believe that at first. I didn't think that would give him immunity. But holy shit. It's just such a blatant case of fraud, and everybody knows it. Yet Wall Street Journal is still printing things like, the most generous billionaire was about to save the world. Till his company collapsed unjustly, you swine. The world could have been saved if only we had let Sam Bankman-Fried continue to scam. But that's the crazy thing. Sam Bankman-Fried is not a billionaire anymore. He has less money than pretty much everyone here right now. Even the people in chat. He has like $0 to his name. The money he has now is his parents' money. Because his parents are fucking compliance lawyers. So he is no longer a billionaire. I thought they would have thrown him to the wolves because now he can no longer donate to them. He does not have that money. That man is so fucking broke now. He has like 300 mil in a new shell company. I haven't seen that conspiracy yet. Maybe. I mean, it's very possible he has some money somewhere off the books, somewhere along the pipeline. That's super possible. There's a resub golf. It's not a conspiracy? Well, I haven't even heard that. Where's that info at? Last I heard, he said he might have 100K stashed away somewhere. That was the last time I saw that. Or last time I saw any comment on, like, his current wealth. That article was from November 30th, and it's from... Who is this? Interesting Engineering. They were the first one to report this. About having the 100K stashed somewhere. Where can I read about the money that he's stockpiled somewhere? Atrioc made a video on it? Wait, what? Oh, it must be in this one. I didn't see this one. He used a shell company to move 600 mil in Robinhood shares. It's in the Big A video. Oh, fuck me. I had no idea. That's not even being written about. wait. I didn't see anything about that. Not a single article. Hold on. What? Let's see. Robinhood. It's everywhere? No, I just typed it in and it's still not coming up. I'm looking for his Robinhood assets that is apparently worth 600 mil. The most recent one is from CNBC saying that his Robinhood stake is tied to the FTX bankruptcy, but it doesn't mention anything about any of his shell companies here. So it seems like that's still inaccessible funds. There's the resub Caesar in action. In Folek. Look into his background. No, I know his parents are compliance lawyers. Like, he was actually just born rich. He had a great spawn. In his own world's most generous billionaire fluff piece, he said, the way I originally made money is I bought Bitcoin on a US exchange for 10K, and I sold it on a Japanese exchange for 11K. So I put $10 million into Bitcoin on American exchange, and then just swapped it in the Japanese exchange. Like, he just had millions upon millions. I also don't think that's the way he made his money, by the way. But even still, he couldn't even come up with something almost remotely relatable to, like, an average layman. Oh, you see, if you start with $10 million, you can actually make quite a lot of money with just a measly 10 million lying around. I mean, anyone can do this. So he basically merged it to GE. Well, yeah, I guess kind of. Thanks, Resub Hazard. Resub Valentine. Shit is so insufferable. Like, how do you get away with this? Because the only people affected were, like, normal people. Like, I read an article the other day. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, the guy who talks about people not being rich, or what the fuck was his quote? I even just mentioned it, like, yesterday. There's something like the top 0.1% have more money than the bottom 88% who live in poverty, and Kevin O'Leary was like, that's wonderful news or some shit like that. Fantastic news. Well, it came out that he was actually paid $15 million in order to shill FTX. So everything that he keeps saying about how amazing SBF is, like everything about, like, you know, SBF may have had this entire empire collapse, but I'd invest in him all over again. All of it is just paid for. Gave him 15 mil for it. Thanks to the resub bits. Yeah, I'm gonna play Choo Choo Charles tomorrow, not tonight. Yeah, because Kevin needs more money. Yeah, but this was 15 mil for doing nothing but posting a couple TikToks being like, Sam Bankman-Fried is one of the smartest men I've ever seen in my life. He'll make you a billionaire if you put your money into FTX. Like, it's 15 mil for just like a TikTok, basically. So even though Kevin O'Leary's already filthy rich, like, I totally see him taking 15 mil for nothing. Nothing. Haven't heard R. Kelly's new music yet, but I will listen to it at some point. It sounds like a lot of distractions. What are you talking about? You talking about FTX? Thanks to give sub zibs. Where's Sam Bankman-Fried's girlfriend these days? Did she get away? Talking about the 28-year-old Harry Potter fan, head of Alameda. Oh my god. Head of Alameda? I don't know. Thanks to resub Diamond. The 2 give subs sexy. She was spotted in New York City. Like, are they coming after her? What was her name again? I don't see anything about her going after her. Huh. Only that they're keeping their eyes on her. Let me look at something else. Let's see. This is a cool title. Caroline Ellison, math whiz and Newton native, was bound for success. Then she got into crypto. Cool. There's a gift sub Christina and the resub Bray, anti-broke, dumb, and the bits employed. There's the 2 gift subs fire. Did you see her tweet about using meth? No, I can't say I saw that tweet. That's hype. Good for her. You know, I like a CEO that knows how to have fun. and appreciates a good Harry Potter story. You know, fuck me, I guess. Apparently she was in detainment. It doesn't seem like she is anymore. Huh. Exit tier 1 slick and the resub schlong. You hear about Tesla homes. No, it sounds fucking awful though. When does the ALGS start? I thought it was supposed to start at 11, but it hasn't gone live yet. Let me try refreshing. Oh, actually, yeah, wait, it did just go live. Okay, looks like it's about to start then. Okay, let me take a piss, fill up my water, and we got Moist Esports ALGS tonight. This is the regional final, so this will be for the major LAN. Be right back. Thanks to the resub, Hawk. Well, hello, Ida. I'm just going downstairs. I'm back. Thanks, Arisa Benzo. Okay, they haven't started yet. We still got some time. Oh. No. Yep. Just watch the CoffeeZilla. Just watch the CoffeeZilla video. That's why we've been talking about it. Thanks, Risa Baron. Thanks, Risa Benjamin. Check Coffee's Twitter. Uh-oh. Is there breaking developments? Let's see. Oh, it's another big scam, it seems. I'll have to catch up on that later. Have you seen R. Kelly's new album? Yeah, we were already talking about it. The I Admit It special. Thanks, a gift sub Duracell. Yeah, I saw the Days Gone director. Yeah, I saw his take. Thanks for resub, Sean. What time does the game start? Should be pretty soon. Thanks for the resub, Hefe. He's absolutely salty that Death Stranding got a sequel before Days Gone. I mean, they're not exactly related at all. He was mad when the game came out and people didn't like it. That some have called fraudulent. Wow, these articles. Yeah, I know. Like, this is CNBC, by the way. The crypto exchange that some have called fraudulent. Like, it's so blatant. It's crazy. It's crazy. Actual nuttiness. It's all an attempt by big money to scare the public away from the blockchain. It's a scam. This was a scam. SBF is a fraud, and for some reason the media, like major outlets, are refusing to acknowledge that this is a scam and the guy should be in jail. If anything, it's the opposite. They're trying to come up with every possible excuse ever for why FTX collapsing is some kind of fluke that no one could have prevented. Is the resub Ged? SPF and Bill Clinton planning something wacky. Can you imagine the venture they could create together? They could make an incredible video game. who even was the guy? The Game Awards guy? He was a 15-year-old kid who did it as like a prank. He's the prime Jiggly. I think he was on InfoWars once. Couldn't tell you. I know he did God, what was it? Like a basketball stunt? Well, not like a basketball trick shot, but like at a basketball game the camera went on him and then he had like a free Hong Kong shirt or something. Can't quite remember. Thanks to the resub chase. He was on InfoWars when he was 12. So that's actually confirmed. He was actually on InfoWars when he was 12? That's wild. What the fuck? What would he even talk about? Yeah, Mr. Jones, I think the frogs are turning gay. He was covering the Hong Kong protests on InfoWars. Wow. The writers who wrote the script for Keegan-Michael Key should have been fired on the spot. That was rough. Yeah, that was one of those certified yucky moments. Him having to read that script was uncomfortable. That was no good. Talking about like Toad with the cap stuff. That went on for a while too. They should have just let him go out there and like tell a joke. Is this starting or are they still going over highlights? I can't tell. Or like not highlights, Jesus Christ. Drop positions.
Buriram once again don't get their spot. So they've been...
Okay, they're going over drop position picks. Okay. We still got some time. Thoughts on the flute guy? The Game Awards flute guy seems like such a sweetheart. I know he made a tweet earlier. And he seemed really wholesome.
Hi, this is Pedro Eustache. You guys know me as Flute Guy. And I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your absolutely amazing response all over social media after the Game Awards of last night. God bless you.
Dude, he just seems like such a nice guy. Love that shit. Just wholesome. Just all around wholesome. Like, how can you not like that kind of attitude? Exit tier 1 big money. The bits. Wada and Remains. What happened with Keegan-Michael Key? Oh, nothing. He just had to read a script for the Game Awards last night that was not very good. He was there to talk about the Mario movie, but they had him do like a little... Skit's the wrong word. They had him do a little hubbub about like Toad being a mushroom, like it's not a cap, it's not a hat, it's cap, you know, like just like back and forth, and it went on for like a full minute. It just wasn't very good. Thanks the 5 gift subs, Misty. Appreciate it in the Prime Warp. Oh, I didn't even hear that part, Wada. Damn, seems like he was all over Twitter.